How we doing, people? We're bracing for a storm. It's getting ready to come through, but I wanted to take a few minutes and give you an update on the dump trailer metal. The other day I estimated it would be around $1,000 for the sheet steel, and I was going to get 4x8 sheets and then mend them all together on the trailer, and it was going to be quite a process to get them all seamed and welded 100%. But what I found out today from my local supplier is he said they have 6x12 sheets. Let's take a look. So as you hear the thunder in the background, it may cut loose at any time, but I wanted to give you an update. We have a full sheet here that will cover the entire bottom. And people, this is not 10 gauge steel. This is 3/16 or 7 gauge. This is what the good trailers use on the bottom. It's very durable. It is about 558 pounds. I had to use the Mini X to get it off the trailer. And what I did was I had to drill a hole in the end, people, in order to grab it with the Mini X and pull it off the trailer. Now listen, my trailer is exactly, let's take a look. Hold on a second. My trailer is around 6 feet, maybe just a whisker more. Okay, so let's take a look. As you see, exactly 6 feet. Those panels should have slid right in there. When I got to the metal place, he went to set them in and they wouldn't go. They were too wide. And he informed me, he said, look, these are not always what you're buying, which is 6x12. This one happened to be 6 foot and 3/4 of an inch. So what I did was I had to take the plasma cutter and I used this piece of bar stock here that I've got. I laid it on there as a guide, and I used my plasma cutter and I cut 3/4 of an inch, almost an inch off. That way I have it at about just shy of 6 feet wide by about 1/4 inch. That gives me an 1/8 inch on either side. Now that is 7 gauge, that is 3/16. The other one you see here, this is for the sides. I won't have any seams. So this one here is not 7 gauge. This is for the sides. This is 10 gauge. Again, I had to drill a hole to get them off. And this one here is about 350 pounds. It's hard to believe they're that much, but they are. So what I've got to do, people, now that I've got this ready, I would go ahead and put it on here, but two things. The mosquitoes tonight are going to come out, and we got a storm fixing to come in. But I'm going to take that end right there, pick it up with the excavator and try to set it in this corner right here. And then I'm going to grab my four-wheeler. You see the winch on there. And I'm going to set the four-wheeler up like this. And I want to winch it up in and try to get it pulled in so that it can be shimmied in here and put in position. I'm very happy that I went with the 7 gauge. I think the 7 gauge is the way to go. It will give it a little more rigidity on the bottom, and it will give it a situation that says if you drop something in your dump trailer, you will not have a big dent, or some of them, if they're real thin, they get valleys in them. What I did was, as you see, I put extra bracing in. I know the cam lines go anywhere from 30 inches apart, which I've got mine set at 16. So I should be really good with the rigidity. As soon as I get the bottom panel in, I'm going to raise the jack stands up as high as they'll go. I will crawl underneath and I will tack each support. I'm not gonna through weld the whole thing. You don't need to do that. I'm just gonna tack it every 8-10 inches all the way down. And then when I get done, I'm gonna put seam sealer on all the seams. That way nothing can get up underneath it and start rusting. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and set the side panels up. Now that's 70. That one there's even a little wider, as you can see. Let me show you. This is pretty wide, people. I mean, you're buying 6 by 12, but you're actually getting 73 1/4 on this one. So as you can see, that's going to need to be obviously cut to fit the sides, but let's see what we got for sides. So we're just shy of 23. If once you put the 3/16 on the bottom, I'll probably cut them to 22 3/4, and that gives me one full piece, and then a full piece for the front, and I should have enough left over to do my fenders. So for two panels, let's take a little conversation over here at the bench. Hold on a second, let me get you set up. It's fixing to rain, people, and the situation is we're trying to get ready for the rain. But let's go ahead and we'll have a little conversation here at the bench. So at the end of the day, those panels, if I would have bought them 6 4x8 sheets, the 7 gauge was $180 a sheet. So you can call that $200 with tax. And that would have needed, I would have needed 3 pieces for the bottom. I would have needed 3 pieces. And the reason I would have needed 3 pieces was because I would have had a 4x8 sheet, then I would have had a 2x8, so half of a sheet, and then I would have needed a 4x6 sheet, which it wouldn't have worked out. I would have had to buy a 3rd sheet. So we're talking $600, and I would have had a minimum of probably 3 to 4 hours welding everything, because you can't just do run a weld, you'll warp everything. You would have had to stitch it every foot or so and then go in between, and then it's another $5–10 worth of grinder wheels and flapper discs. So I'm not worried about the flapper discs because I buy them on a 40-pack off Amazon for 20 bucks. But the situation would have been, I would have had at least 3 or 4 hours welding it, grinding it, preparing it, and at the end of the day, you still have a seam. So the sheet that he sold me, 6 by 12, the 7 gauge, was $450, and I had budgeted $1,000 for the sheet metal. Now that is a thick steel gauge. It's 3/16. That's a pretty good sized gauge. That's what most of the good trailers put on them. Your cam lines, I think they come with 12 gauge, to be honest with you. It's kind of a thin gauge. But the sides, I went with a 10 gauge. Okay, you don't need to have a 7 gauge on the sides. And that sheet was $350. So with tax and everything for the 2 sheets, I had $823. So I'm very happy that I don't have to weld them all. All I got to do is put them on, cut them and put them in place and weld them. I don't have to seam them. I don't have to, even on the side ones, I would have had to do a vertical weld all the way down, which I don't have to do that now. It's going to look really, really professional when it's done. And it's a little cheaper to do it this way. I just didn't realize they had 6 by 12 sheets. Pretty impressive, actually. And I went out there, the guy loaded it up with 2 forklifts. They set one in, the other guy pushed it in. And what I did, because it wanted to separate the walls on my trailer, because they're heavy. You're talking almost 1,000 pounds. I wound up having them back it out, and I put some boards in at an angle so that it rested in the trailer like this. Now, it was hanging off the back. The trailer's 8 feet long, and I got say like 1.5 foot tailgate, so 9.5. You had 3 feet hanging off the back. That was a little squirrely coming home, I'm not going to lie to you. I couldn't do more than 45 miles an hour. The trailer started to fishtail, so I had to keep pulling over, letting cars pass. But that's all done and over with. That's all said and done. And we have the metal here on home soil. That's the big thing. We made the purchase, we got her done, and it was pretty painless actually, because for the amount of money I had figured was around $1,000, I think I spent $823, so I'm ahead of the game a little bit there. That gives me a little extra in case I've got to work on my trailer brakes, if it needs anything, a bearing or a race or any kind of brakes. It gives me a little extra flexibility. I think I'll still be within or below budget of $3,000 for a dump trailer. And I know a lot of people are saying that's a lot of money for a dump trailer, and you got a lot of time in that. Well, I really don't have a lot of time in it. It's a labor of love. It's a labor of my time and my investment. So at the end of the day, I would be working on something anyway. But what I'm trying to get at is, this is if you were to go buy a comparable trailer that's well built, and this one here is over engineered on the top, you're looking at anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, people. So if I got $3,000 in it, I mean, I'm not, not trying to make you count my pocket or nothing, but $3,000 is not a bad deal for a new dump trailer. It'll be new to me, even though it's used. It's all being rebuilt. And here's the other thing. I seen a guy last night on YouTube. He was talking about 2 years in on a brand new trailer, it's all rusted, and I mean rusted. He drove it through the winter and so forth. But just like I talked the other night, they do not put the correct primers on them, people. They just spray them right over the, I don't even think they take the mill scale off. They just spray them black, and they look real shiny when you buy them. They put the stickers on them, and you get on down the highway, and basically that's what you got. You've got something that's rusting with the day it comes off the showroom floor. So this one's going to have all the correct primers underneath. It's going to have the epoxy primers, which is like a glue primer. That thing locks it down really good. And then the paint itself is not just a ordinary paint. It's a urethane single stage high gloss black, and it's going to be really, really nice. I think that you're going to really be impressed with it when it's said and done. My goal is so that when I go down the highway with it, people are like, wow, that is a nice trailer. I wonder what brand that is. And I'm going to put my name on it. I'm going to represent now, because it's definitely certified. But I just wanted to give you let me give you one last look at the situation. We're starting to get a little rain. As you see, I got my little up tent. I dropped it down to protect my four-wheeler. Old Betty Lou over there, that trailer, it did me good today, because if you tried to put that, I was going to put it in Tonka, but they would have really done some damage on that box. And at the end of the day, it wouldn't have fit 6 feet or better wide. But as you see, I've got it cut. I just need to lift it up and set it on here. And once I get it on, I'm going to go ahead and tack the perimeter. And then I'm going to take my country jack, farmer's jack, and I'm going to jack it up, raise it up as high as it'll go on both ends, and I'm going to crawl under there, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch weld the center panels, and we will be good to go. I'm going to that one there, and I don't really know how far I want to go with the actual metal on it, because it's going to have dirt, and it's going to, whatever's on there is going to get down to raw material anyway. I may just go ahead and coat that with a little oil, some fluid film or something, and then just sort of like my table here. This has never been coated, but I just put a little Croil on it, and it stays with the mill scale. This is mill scale. That's what this is. And I think that's the situation we're going to go with. But this is your boy Bry. I wanted to give you, 15 minutes of fame. It looks like we're starting to get, the wind is picking up. As you can see, the trees, they're starting to move. We're giving you live updates, people. You see my up tent and don't like it. We're giving you live updates. And if anything, I don't want that grill to blow away. That's my main source of really cooking good meals on there. But you can see the water coming off now. The rain is coming down. And, the situation is we're starting to get a storm, people. All right, this is your boy Bry. I've got to get this door shut, because what I'm trying to think of is I definitely don't want to have something come down and hit me. All right, talk to you later, people.